Welcome to the DL Gaming Podcast. My name is Bobby.
I'm Taylor.
I'm Amanda.
And I'm hungover. And this is not the first time I've been hungover on this show. And I'm not missing a bunch of shows because I'm a drunkard. I've been extremely busy getting a building off the ground. And we had our soft opening yesterday. And it went well. I was nervous and waiting for something to break. Nothing broke. And it was good. It's an event terrace in Tijuana, Mexico. And I'm partial owner of it. So I've never done anything like that. It's different being a party as an owner than as a patron, you know? You're just like looking for problems. But anyway, I drank my problems away and now I have a new one. So
Perfect.
How long did it take you to do the thing from start to finish?
When I got there, it was 2 years. It was a year overdue and $200K in the hole, like past. And so I had to, I had to go down there and help physically for free because, you know, and it worked out. I mean, after 7 months, we got it back on and hopefully the money starts coming in now. So, yeah.
All right. Get that money. You got that liability.
Mm-hmm.
All right. This week,
Thanks, Bobby.
This week, we're going to be talking about Tell Me Why, Schedule 1, Boxed.gg, and Ren'Py games. But first, let's ping some things. So this week, I'm going to ping some announcements that Discord made. They have announced that they have plans to go public, and they're going to have a new CEO. The former CFO/CSO at Activision Blizzard is now going to be the CEO of Discord. So the big question is, what's going to change when they go public?
We're going to be able to buy like crates that we don't know what's inside of them to get stickers that we don't use. And yeah, something like that. I don't know.
They're going to bring back the loot crate.
He knows how to make money.
Right?
Yeah,
he's
which
not
is going
a
to
CEO.
lower our experience.
He's not a CEO of like communications platforms. He's the CEO of making money at other companies.
Yeah. I mean, so I think the opinion of Activision Blizzard has really lost a lot of steam over the last few years, and that's due to him, but they're making tons of money. So as a company move, it's probably a great move. As far as a customer satisfaction, I don't know. I think it's probably going to be negative.
Presumably, he was there during when Activision Blizzard sold to Microsoft, right?
Yeah, the acquisition.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would imagine so. Cashed out pretty well, I would imagine as well.
You know, there's so much going on with Discord right now that I haven't paid attention to. I look at some people's profiles and they've got all these animations and these fancy borders, and there's so much going on that I'm like, oh, they must be paying for it, or there must be some, I think it's called Discord Nitro.
Yep. I pay for Discord Nitro.
So do yeah.
I know I'm the only person that doesn't.
The OG one
we do
back
it to
in the
support
day.
the podcast, Bobby, but it's fine. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
How does Discord Nitro support the podcast?
Because if you get a boost with it that you could give to anybody, and if you boost a server, then that's how we stay at like
The level
whatever
3.
the second tier. Yeah, the second tier is, and then with that we get higher bit rates and better audio and
Bigger uploads.
That's why you can send like 30 pictures to somebody. Because I'm on the front lines, Bobby. Do you understand? Throwing my life and my wallet down.
Yeah, and it's also why I can just send you the entire recording of this whole podcast episode on Discord, is because I've got Nitro. I will say I have one of the ones that has the fancy outline on my profile. It's a Civ 7 one. I've noticed that they kind of started doing something where when a new game's out, they might feature and showcase like a new thing to add on your Discord to do that. Because I remember getting the Civ 7 profile border for free, and that one's animated. So some of them are, but I'd say like 90% of everything on it is money. So I'm kind of curious as to how somebody who focuses only on making money is going to, I guess, nickel and dime things in Discord to make even more money, because a lot of it already is, in my opinion, with Nitro and things like that. Like $10 a month for Nitro It's pretty steep.
It is steep.
I think it's very steep, especially for just fun, frilly things that are the equivalent of like what you get at the, coin shop and Steam, all just cosmetic stuff. So I don't know. I'm kind of bummed to hear this myself, because it's just like, to me, it tells me that like Discord's going to be sunsetting, at least for a lot of us. But maybe I'm having a very critical, negative view. Who knows? Maybe Blue Sky will make something new.
Who knows?
How many times have each of us like gone through a new PC gaming like voice chat service? Like there was Ventrilo and TeamSpeak and Mumble
bring
and
back
Skype,
TeamSpeak, bro.
And I mean, it's not our first rodeo.
But also, I think Discord's kind of been the most dominant and best there has been. Nothing's been this easy ever. I mean, I think you can click on, when somebody's playing a game, you see it, and then you click it through Discord. It'll launch the launcher and It's awesome. Mm-hmm. It's awesome. It's so good.
Microsoft and Sony both bought in too, while it was still private. They own stakes. That's why you can get Discord on your Xbox now. So I think really the fact that they are on the consoles as well as PC has put them in this like dominant market position where it's kind of hard to imagine not using Discord at this point.
Ripe for the picking for a super CEO to make as much money as possible.
Watch this, troll. Everybody then just goes to Microsoft Teams instead. How much of a nightmare would that be?
The return to Skype.
I don't see that happening. I don't know.
I know.
I handle a lot of the Google stuff at my work and the Apple stuff. And then I sit next to the guy who handles a lot of the Microsoft. And it's hilarious anytime he's trying to explain something. He's like, yeah, it's simple. You just do this, click here, fill in this, do that, click here, click share. But it's not going to share with these people. So then you have to click this. And it's just like, that's Microsoft in a nutshell, like every single time. I'm not a fan. But yeah, so when a company goes public, typically there is much more of a focus on making money, because you have to satisfy the stakeholders. People are investing. They want those dividends. They want to make that money. So the question is, how can Discord make more money? They've tried things in the past. They've tried including in Discord Nitro, like free games, and everybody was like, we don't want these. No, thank you.
Yeah, they had a games shop, like where you could buy games in Discord. And I don't think that was successful. No,
it was so unsuccessful they completely stopped doing it. So I don't know where they really go from here as far as making money, but I'm sure they'll think of something, and hopefully it doesn't damage the product that we all know and love. Because as I've said before, Discord was a turning point for this podcast. Like it completely changed things for us. So
what year was that? 2016?
2015, I believe. Yeah. All right, Emilio, what you got this week?
I didn't know this was a thing. So people take Lego sets and make things that aren't designed. Those Legos are not designed to make, but make that with that kit. So this is I bought this one. I haven't made it yet, but somebody took the Bunny Rabbit 3-in-1 for Easter and turned it into a alien face hugger. And it looks awesome. Just click on it and you can, like, even from top or bottom, it looks awesome. But it wasn't designed for that. It's a 3-in-1 like Easter bunny, like horse thing. Or you can make this awesome face hugger that somebody came up with. This is not Lego branded, is what I'm trying to say here. So somebody on Instagram put up directions on how to build it. And so, of course, it's bought, dude. Of course, it's bought. Next week, it's going to be right around here in my background here. So, it's awesome. I didn't know this was a thing. Now I'm kind of like, I built a race car last 2 weeks ago or something, and I had a lot of fun. I hadn't done my own Lego in 20, 30 years, you know. Maybe I'll have to help the girls, but there's definitely... Hey, there's something to this Lego thing, guys. That's been around 70 years or whatever. Quick other thing. What did I ask ChatGPT? Why are Legos so expensive or something? Yeah, that's what I did. And actually, the price per brick has gone down since their inception. But the kits are so much more developed and so many pieces that that the prices are very high. But really, it's a very affordable toy. As you back in the day, it was big old bricks, and so very cool. Little fun fact there.
Nice.
Fascinating. That's cool.
Yeah, looking at the picture, I posted it in the real life share in Discord if you're currently watching with us. But yeah, you can see the picture of what it's supposed to look like, and then the face hugger itself, and it's wonderful. I love this.
Yeah, I should have bought 2 so I could kill that stupid rabbit with a face hugger. That'd be awesome. Oh, also in other alien news, there's an alien TV show called Alien Earth coming out, where the aliens the xenomorphs make it to Earth, and there's 2 Predator things coming out. One's an animated one, and one is one with the Predator as the protagonist. So that should be cool too. Yep.
Nice. All right.
Yeah.
Amanda, what do you got this week?
I have got 2 things. I'm gonna make them pretty quick. Dune Awakening is having a request access for their early beta that's going on May 9th to the 12th. So right now, if you go onto Steam on their store page, you can request this access for this massive beta that they're planning on doing. Looks exciting, looks awesome. I've been seeing a little bit of some content come out. I think this past weekend, some people had some closed beta and were able to like record some things. I remember, I think it was Shroud that was like playing and testing out the PvP and things like that. And it looks, I'm trying so hard not to get hype about it. Usually my philosophy with a game that I'm just genuinely hype about in terms of IP is I'll look at it enough to be like, would I play this day one or no? And if the answer is yes, like it is with Dune Awakening, I'd rather just not have any kind of spoilers or do nothing, because I just want to walk in like as if I'm in the early 2000s without the access of just tons of hype machines going on YouTube. So that way I can just experience it for the first time, with like semi brand new eyes, instead of all these things like it should have been this way, And so it's just, I'd rather just enjoy it. But for those that want to request the access for that early beta, get those clicks in now on Steam, which I did. Everybody should do it because it's just be a free chance that weekend to play. The other thing that I'm pinging is we officially have the sign up for DLG Con 2025 live. You can find it in our Discord, which is at, dlgaming.net is how you can find our Discord. But we have a DLG Con planning channel in our Discord that has pinned the sign up sheet for it. So we require a deposit. This way, then we know that you're serious about coming, and it guarantees a spot for you. It also goes towards the price of being at DLG Con. It's going to cost, roughly, I kind of try to find houses where most people are paying on average around $300 to $400, and that's for like the whole weekend. So I feel like for the whole weekend of where you're going, it's pretty reasonable. There's usually a lot of food and alcohol involved with that as well. So this is happening on October 3rd to the 6th in 2025 in Wisconsin somewhere. We also have the voting polls open until May 26th for you to vote on which house you want. There's 4 different options. It's from Wisconsin Dells to Kenosha to like right outside of Milwaukee. There's quite a few different options, so take a look at all 4 of them. I've got price breakdowns for all of them, so you can kind of see what ballpark of what you'd be paying for each one. And yeah, we've got voting going on, and so check them out and vote. And that's really all I got. I'm so excited. It's going to be nice after a year of a virtual DLG Con to have one in person. We've been long overdue for Midwest people to have a place that they can go to that's going to be a little bit better and easier. And I think every single option we were able to achieve Emilio's dream, which is having a lake house. So it should be a really good time.
2 things. 1, can you guys hear the piano being played in the background? Okay, good.
Nope.
And 2, I was thinking about it just now while you were talking, Days. We're batting 1,000. There's never been a person that was like, I ain't have a good time, or I'd like my money back. Never once.
No.
It's a fucking awesome time.
And this is the 7th one, guys. If you need like a good ratio to reviews, like, yeah, you're right, we're batting 1,000. 7 times in a row, no complaints. Other than maybe it could have been in person last year, which is what we're given this year. So And what we've given in the previous years. It's always such a fun and awesome time. Tons of board games. Always a really fun, nice house. I think every single option also has a hot tub, or there's lake access. So there's a chance to get the swims in, or you're playing air hockey with your buds. And it's Wisconsin, so you know we're going to be drunk and having a good time.
Awesome. All right, get into that Discord and get those votes in. October 3rd through 6th. Make sure you take those off on the calendar too.
That's right.
All right. So let's slip into highlights. These are the games that we have been playing this week. I'll start us off with Tell Me Why. That's the game that I played this week, or at least the first of 3 chapters I played. You may remember this one. It came out in 2020. It's one of those narrative adventure games where you make decisions throughout the game and it influences the direction of the story. It's similar to all those Telltale games that exploded with The Walking Dead back in 2012. It's from DONTNOD, who made Life is Strange and Life is Strange 2. I only played the first Life is Strange, but I did really enjoy it. So the story here is there's 2 twins that have this psychic bond, and they're reunited after being separated for 10 years because one of them killed their mother, but it was in self-defense. And they reunite, return to their hometown, and they travel around trying to uncover why the mother went crazy and tried to kill one of them. So it's
allegedly.
Allegedly.
We're taking one twins.
Yeah, and that is important because you really don't know what's going on. There's a lot of twists. There's a lot of reveals. There's a lot of things that happen in this. So don't jump to conclusions.
Is this from the POV of the twins?
You play as both the twins.
So they could possibly be unreliable narrators.
Yeah, and in fact, there's a really interesting mechanic here where the 2 twins they have this like recall. You've seen this before in games, this recall mechanic where you press a button and it replays a memory in a certain location of something that happened. So they do that, but the twins have 2 different memories. In one memory, she remembers the mother being very aggressive and getting mad, and the other twin remembers somebody else being like that. And so you have this like debate and you have to pick a side, and it influences the relationship between the 2 twins and also where the story goes. So it's kind of an interesting mechanic they have there. I was excited to play this one. It came out a while ago and I'm just now getting around to it. But I really liked Life is Strange from back in 2015. It was like Twin Peaks for teenagers. It had this supernatural element to it, a little on the David Lynch side. It was a good time. And, this was back when those types of games were really popular too. I think they've kind of waned in popularity since then. But I remember it being, for a video game, it had a pretty strong narrative and like a really good, I don't know, it was a lot to chew on, a lot to think about. So I was excited to jump into this one. Now, the big headline with this game is that one of the twins is transgender. And it's voiced by a transgender person. And there was a lot of media coverage about this because it was the first transgender character to star in a AAA video game from a major development studio. And you can tell that they did their homework. They really did. They say right on the Steam page, the developers partnered closely with cultural, mental health, and gender advocates to craft a thoughtful, true-to-life experience. And it definitely shows. Like, the characters feel real and authentic. It all feels like very tastefully done and very true. And they don't just touch on like the gender identity stuff. Like, there's a lot of stuff in here about environmentalism, tribal rights, indigenous people, a lot of those hot button societal topics that can get a little heated around the Thanksgiving dinner table, but it takes place in Alaska, which I feel like is a good spot for all of this. So I'll tell you, in the first chapter, the most interesting part of the game for me, I've been really positive up to this point. Don't worry, the hammer's coming down later. I got some notes. But the most interesting part of the first chapter was when they encountered this character named Sam. He was a friend of their mom's. And he's like your typical outdoorsy Alaskan guy, you know, hunter, into all those activities. And so, of course, he's going to have trouble wrapping his head around the whole transgender thing. So it's kind of an interesting interaction that happens when one of the twins comes back, and he's like, you can tell that like it's kind of difficult for him to navigate that, because the last time he saw this kid, he was a girl, and now he's a man, and he's just like, well, it doesn't make sense to me, you know, and stuff like that. And that was really like the most interesting part of the game for me. And you have a chance as a character to react to that in one of two ways, a little more understanding and a little more hostile. So I thought that was like really driving at something and kind of interesting. But other than that, like I'm not super hooked on the game. It's got all the problems that these games tend to have. It's so heavy on the story that there's really no gaming element. You're just kind of wandering around and finding things and talking to people. That's about it. And also a game like this, the narrative is so fragile. It's so easy to break like the reality of the story with like repeated dialogues or out of dialogue lines, or when the dialogue gets out of order, or you spend an excessive amount of time wandering around looking at stuff. It just kind of breaks the flow and the momentum and the pacing, honestly. So it has those problems, but my biggest issue was I ran into a bug where I just couldn't proceed. And it took me like 20, 30 minutes to realize this, till finally I looked it up and it was like, oh yeah, that's a bug. And the solution was simple: restart the game, which I did, and it fixed it and I moved on. But it was very strange because I was so annoyed by that I was like, it took a little while for the game to earn my trust back. I was just like, I want to quit this game right now, like out of principle almost. Like, this is ridiculous. I can't believe I just wasted so much time trying to figure something out, and I was just running into a brick wall. And I think these days I have a less of a tolerance for game breaking bugs. I don't know where you guys are at on this, but if I run into something like that, I almost want to just drop out and move on to the next game.
Game breaks my heart, dude.
Yeah, but I think it kind of depends on context in a way. Like, especially with what you're discussing, it's a AAA game that in theory shouldn't have such game-breaking bugs. I mean, of course they happen. We're all human. That's going to happen. But with this kind of a game, you get so sucked in to a story that kind of thing breaks the momentum and the flow that is like creating this entire narration. It's a wonderful segue into my game and my highlight, though, unless you've got more you want to talk about. Would tell me why. Okay, because my game that I'm going to talk about, Schedule 1, is buggy as fuck, to the point where I think it's actually part of the game. However, I love it because I think the context of this is that Schedule 1 is made by Tyler and Tyler Video Game Studios. It's one dude, and this is like a Stardew Valley situation with this game. So what is Schedule 1? It's kind of like a drug dealer simulator with a bunch of little mini games in there where you grow weed, you like mix in the chemistry set, you're making meth, you're cooking meth, you're making cocaine, you're growing cocaine, and it's it's ridiculous, but it's buggy as fuck. Like, you can take your skateboard and jump on top of a trash can and then keep jumping, and you will yeet deep into the sky, which is what people are using to get away from the cops. Hilarious. There's another one which is like, you can easily kind of like force yourself into a door through this like mansion and explore this house, and there's like a hidden safe, and take it. So it's like, in a way, that's not a true bug, but I don't think that the developer is finished making that place yet, so it's kind of like this pseudo bug. There's a lot of bugs riddled in this game, and it's up to 4-player co-op, which has been super fun. And even that experience is actually pretty fucking buggy, where we've had to delete the game, reinstall the game. I mean, the game is probably like 2 gigs, so it's not even that big of a deal. But there has been many times already in the 35 hours of me playing this game where it's like I'm encountering these game-breaking bugs that are fixed by either re-verifying the game files or going to bed and resetting the day and like things like that. But it actually makes the game pretty damn funny, I think. So it kind of works. It feels like this South Park type of humor where you can see like a dick graffitied on the side of the wall. So to me, that kind of being in that kind of a lane and wavelength, like, it makes the bugs just fucking funny. Because there's things where And there's things where you actually can't tell if it's a bug or they're trying to do it. Like, for example, you can mix drugs with different things like motor oil and energy drinks and create like different strains and different types of drugs. And they all have their own little like description about them. So like one of them might be, it makes somebody glow-eyed and their eyeballs glow. Or like the one that there's one that is seizure, and that one it seems buggy. But I also really don't know if it is buggy or they're trying to do that, because when somebody smokes the seizure-inducing drug that you make, they start spazzing out, but then they start like ragdolling and sometimes floating. But you're like, are you supposed to do that? Maybe it's a bug, maybe it's not. It's very amusing though and hilarious. Right now, my partner and I are like so deep in the game. I think we have like a $200,000 net worth. We're rolling in like 20K a day, and we've got 4 dealers, a whole operation. We've got this like perfect setup for cocaine is what we're doing.
Do the police step in at any point, or is that?
Yeah, do you have to watch out for them, or?
So yeah, there are cops that patrol at night, and if they walk by you, they'll do a body search, and if they find you, then they go under arrest. But even then, they're a little buggy. If you put a van in front of the police station, they get stuck and they can't patrol. So then you get free reign for the whole night. But I do know that with the roadmap, Tyler is working on a whole bunch of things like police raids of your location, because it's still, I believe, an early access game. It's still kind of building on it. He's actively working on it,
looking at the Steam page, it says it released into early access March 24th. So it's been out for a month in early access.
Yeah. And it has 154,000 positive reviews.
Overwhelmingly positive.
Overwhelmingly positive. And according to Christian, I believe it's 10% of people that
will
give it
leave
a
a review.
So this guy can hire so many more Tylers. There can be. He can specifically only hire guys named Tyler with the money he just made.
Maybe
honestly,
make an exception for a few tailors.
But there is some litigation going on, though, right?
There is.
Yes.
I think right when this released, it was very, very close to the release of, I think it was like Drug Pin Simulator or like Drug Dealer Simulator. They're apparently very similar, but I feel like the essence of like I want to say that the Drug Dealer Simulator was really kind of realistic, whereas once again this feels like fucking South Park in a game. And so I mean it was due to explode like this, so I think there are some trademark litigation and like some fighting going on and legal issues with this, but I think my partner and I did the math that this guy probably made around 27 million off of this game. This is like a fucking Stardew Valley story. This is one dude from Australia that made this, and he made it in a way at the right timing, right in the right niche, right at the right moment, and it is exploding. It's so viral. Speaking of explosions, that's one of the things you can make your people do at this place. There's a straight up explosive strain, and you start hearing a ticking noise, and then they just fucking blow up, and it's hilarious. And each people that you sell to, some of them have different traits. There's one guy, I think his name's Ludwig. He will spend any money you ask of him if you sell it to him. But if you assign him a dealer, he lowballs the fuck out of the dealers and won't pay the dealers a lot. There's another chick named Jessie, and you can't miss her. She lives at the motel and has tattoos all over her face.
I know Jessie. Don't worry.
Yeah, like oh my God, she can never get enough. She can't get enough. You could raise that price like crazy. I think originally it was recommending to sell her meth at like $400, and we were like, fuck it, let's just do $1,000. What are you gonna do about it, Jessie? And she's like, fine. And
what's Jessie do for work if she's living in a motel and spending $1,000 on meth every day?
I got no idea. One of our highest paying dudes is named like Cranky Frank, and he's got a fucking pot upside down on his head, and he's homeless, and he's sitting there paying $950 for like a ball of coke that we have, which, speaking of, we found this like perfect recipe to get something crazy, because when you mix things, it randomizes the names, which sometimes is absolutely fucking hilarious. Like I've got a great strain of meth that's called like
Somebody clip that. Just clip that.
No. No, they're gonna be like, she's from the Midwest. That checks out. No. But no, it's called Mega Durkle is like the strain that we have, which is great. But the best one that's selling very expensively at like $900 a pop is called Harry Queef, and it's. You mix motor oil and Coca-Cola and gasoline, and batteries, horse semen, mega beans. Does it sound exciting? That sounds very realistic, right, guys? But no, this game is awesome. I'm having a lot of fun playing this. There's like almost no story to it other than just avoid the cops and try and make as big of a empire as you can. But Tyler is adding a lot of new things. He's planning on adding cartels and raids and loan sharks and people to come steal and break into your place and fuck with your stuff. And so like it's really, really fun and exciting. But it did kind of make me think, does anybody here kind of have a favorite like a favorite drug in a video game or like a use of a drug in a video game? Because I think a lot about like with Cyberpunk 2077 and even Fallout with like the drugs that they've used in the games. Like, is there one that you guys really like? Yes.
I'm on skooma right now.
Oh, skooma's my fave. I have a shirt that is it's Coke, but instead it's the Coca-Cola logo, but it's skooma instead.
Hell yeah.
What was the drug in Fallout? There's a few of them.
There's Jet.
And
that's what it was called?
It was an inhaler.
That's one of them, yeah, for sure.
That you took.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's a few other ones.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I
feel like Blowout was one.
It comes up in a lot of movies, but I can't think of too many video games where there's like fictionalized drugs.
I think a lot of video game developers, especially if it's a bigger AAA game like Fallout or something like that, there is a bit of hesitance to put too much drug use into the game, especially because countries like Australia and parts of Europe have these very strict laws that having explicit drug use of quote unquote real life drugs is going to make your game adult only, or maybe you won't even be able to sell it there at all. So, I think there's a fine line that people have to walk or developers have to walk in terms of drug use in their games. Meanwhile, Tyler's out here making a game straight up about being a drug dealer. Like GTA? No. That's not even close.
But Schedule 1, I mean, you could get your Harry Queef cocaine right outside of the casino and then blow all that cash like on the slots, which you do win big when you play the slots.
Which segues perfectly into what I've been doing. So I have not, I know I haven't been on the podcast for a while now, but I have been working on my card shop. I have been working on the physical brick and mortar place as well. A lot of work. So I need to acquire cards for my card shop in a quick and hopefully cheap way. What a better way than to fucking gamble, right? I love gambling and I love cards, and there's a couple companies that let you gamble for cards. So one of them is box.gg. So their whole thing is, it's kind of a weird business model, but you open virtual packs and they tell you the drop rates. Like you have a 1% chance of hitting this. You have a 5% chance of hitting this, 8% chance of hitting this, and the rest is all garbage or whatever it is, whatever it might be. It tells you it has a spiceometer. The higher the spice meter, the higher, sometimes it's 0.001 chance of hitting something. And of getting like this crazy hit. But, for 30 cents, you open this virtual pack and you have a 1 in 3,000 chance of getting this like $800 card or something.
But but why? So where's okay? So I'm hearing you say that it's gambling.
Yeah.
With virtual cards.
Right. Because
but where is the monetary incentive here? Can I trade these virtual cards in for real cards?
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
Exactly what happened. So you build up your inventory. At any point, your virtual inventory can be sold for gems. Of course, they use gems, which is real money. And you can. So if it's a card you don't want, you can sell it back for more gem money. So you can spin the lottery machine some more basically. And so if you get a really big hit of a card, I mean, if you're going to do this as somebody who's looking for a card, a specific card, I don't know how that would go. I'm specifically looking to make money, right? So I'm just trying to get very expensive cards as quickly as possible. I think other people might be using this to like try to get a good deal on a specific card. And I think
like I want Charizard, and exactly. I'm going to spin the wheel however many times it takes to get one.
Exactly. And I think most people, I think this website is more geared towards Pokemon. So my first day, I put in $80 and I won $260 worth of cards. That was 2.5 months ago, and I haven't got my cards yet. So I don't know. But I had so much fun. I kept playing, and I've won another 150 cards. I did get those cards. Something about the first cards just has not happened. They sent me an apology letter and sent back my shipping costs, which I paid in gems, by the way. So I don't know how legit these people are. So I can't recommend it too much, but it is fun. Yeah, and it worked out once, so probably a 1 out of 10 rating until I get the next one. Another one is Whatnot, and I don't know if you guys have heard about this, but it's far more addicting than Box.gg. So what it is, it's an app where people auction things off however they want. It's a online, it's like a TikTok live auction site. That's what it is.
Oh, okay.
And so people are selling whatever you're into. If there's a fan base for it, there's people that sell it. So, like, if you click on the thing, you can see sneakers, records, magic cards,
comic books,
whatever. If it's like if there's a secondary market, it's on Whatnot most likely. And I've spent like $1,500 on this in like the last 3 weeks. And I think I'm probably at least close to even, if not a little bit ahead. It just takes a little bit of luck, because if you're just buying one thing, all you have to do is outbid everybody else. Mm-hmm. There you go. But the way the magic guy that I like doing it with, because I love gambling, you win the bid only for a spin at his prize wheel. And I've gotten incredibly, incredibly lucky. I won a $550 card. I already got it. Oh, by the way, the shipping's great. You get everything in like 2 or 3 days. It's awesome. Everything's packaged right. And I was like, ooh, a $550 card. Check the rates. Like, how much am I going to sell this for? 2 were sold last year. So is it really $550? Because like, how long is it going to take me to?
You can kind of set your own price at that point if there's not really a market. Price.
Sure, but how much? Where's the demand? If only 2 sold on TCG last year. But anyway, either way, it's fun as fuck. Sam got on it, and Sam is my girlfriend, and she's crazy into Labubus right now. I don't know if you guys know what they are. They're basically a charm toy that you put on your purse, basically, or your backpack, and they're very hard to get, and there's a strong secondary market, and she's been getting there's cases showing up to my house, and she's selling them, and she's making a profit now. So it's a secondary market for us that are like tertiary sellers, and we're still making a profit. Because these people on Whatnot are making money off of like how much they can sell, volume, and then we're doing it.
Because presumably Whatnot, the platform is getting a cut of the sales.
I don't know that side. I don't know the seller side. Sam's really talking about selling. She wants to sell on Whatnot.
I'm looking at the website right now, and this very strongly reminds me of when I used to live in Southeast Asia, like Vietnam. Mm-hmm. There were a lot of these apps of people live streaming, and it was all over Facebook and Instagram there as well. And there's this whole industry of people that were live streaming all day, doing like their own like home shopping network, essentially.
That's exactly what this is.
They're showing this product that they have, and then they talk about it. They'll bring their friend in and to talk about it and be like, oh, this skincare cream that I'm selling is blah, 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 blah. And sometimes it was homemade stuff. Sometimes it was clothing. Sometimes it was makeup or cookware or...
Yeah, I don't want to get people mixed up. It is not a gambling site. It's an auction site. Just the one that I happen to use the most turns it his way or their way of selling is a gambling platform. But
okay.
I mean, you can see the drop rates. You can see like it's all there. You just have to think that you're luckier than everybody else. But you know, if you wanted a specific set, you could buy. Oh, look, like this is a $260 collector booster. I won this on there. I've won several hundreds of dollars of stuff, if not thousands of dollars now. So it's definitely not a scam. I am a Whatnot fan for sure. But I don't know if my bank account can handle it very much longer. Yeah. So that's me for now, for this week.
Gotcha. Well, that is really quite interesting to think about, like gambling. So far in the episode, we've talked about some pretty kind of like controversial stuff. We've got Bobby with Tell Me Why talking about hot, you know, like hot button political issues, social issues. Then Amanda's out here dealing drugs to people,
allegedly
making them explode occasionally. It sounds like. Now Emilio's talking about gambling, and I'm coming in. My highlight this week is Ren'Py Games, which Ren'Py is it's not a game itself. It's a game making program. So like, you know, you might have heard of these, like RPG Maker is a program that people can buy on Steam, actually, to make their own RPG that kind of looks like a Pokemon game or one of those early like Game Boy games. And they, you know, these things include all of the tools and a lot of assets and coding, scripting. So that way an amateur person who's not a game dev can download this program and make their own game, right? And Ren'Py specifically is for making visual novels. And so recently we had Visual Novel Fest on Steam, and I was kind of scrolling through there looking at some of the... I've never been big into visual novels. I played a couple here and there. Like Valhalla, Cyberpunk, Bartending Action. That's a Ren'Py game, actually. But it's never been a genre that I was particularly into. Then in Discord, we had a weekly discussion about it to go along with Steam Visual Novel Fest. And some of the community members in there were talking about visual novels that they enjoy. And we kind of were talking about, you know, like what makes a game a game? You know, is a visual novel a game? Does player choice make something a game, etc.? It was a fun discussion. So that really kind of piqued my interest into like, I'm going to dive into this world of visual novels. And then that also ties in with when we were talking about itch.io the other day. Itch.io is a platform for amateur developers to put their games up and sell them or put them out for free, etc. And so there's a ton of these Ren'Py Games visual novels on itch.io for free. Some of them you have to pay for, some of them is pay what you want. And so I just started to browse the website in the visual novel section and kind of click on things that caught my eye. Download it. Some of them you can play directly in your web browser. And so one of the things I'm going to throw out there right off the bat, there are a lot of porn games on there in this visual novel section. So not safe for work to browse that section of the website at work. Don't do it. And And there is also a lot of things on there that are that come with like really heavy themes. But like I was saying, there are games they're made with this Ren'Py program, from like Valhalla to Treasures of Nadia, which we've talked about on the podcast before, that were made with full dev teams, all the way to one person passion projects, or maybe two people, a writer and an artist or something like that. And so what I really found interesting about this whole process, I'll get into talking about a couple of the games here in a second, but I really like, there's this kind of punk rock vibe to this whole thing, where there's all these small little communities of people that are out there, either on Discord, or they'll have their own forums or websites or whatever, and they're not things that you're gonna find browsing the web normally. It's kind of like you got to know someone to get invited to go, join this community, or to, talk to the developers of this. Like, so in that aspect, I just really enjoyed the kind of punk rock aspect of it all. But as I was going through, I got to talking to a few of these devs of various different games, but really, I kind of went on this whole emotional roller coaster over the past week, digging into these and playing some of them, all the way from highs of like laughing and some of these some were really funny and goofy, kind of like Schedule 1 sounds. It sounds like it doesn't take itself too seriously. To games that were making me cry, games that made me feel just upset, games that pulled on your heartstrings, like grief and loss, and then also disgust. Like, some of these were obviously someone's weird kink that I looked at and I was like, ugh, just gross. Even to the point of, I found a couple of games on there that I was pretty sure are talking about illegal things, and that I reported to like the cybercrime tip line. But a couple examples that I wanted to bring up of games that I found on there that really did kind of pull at me in some way. One of them was called Astra's Garden. So you can find this game on itch.io. I don't have a link to it up right now, but this is like this indie game where you're growing plants to make medicine and for your customers. And this game took me maybe an hour. It took me about an hour to get through. But this game really, it talked a lot about chronic illness and death, and then dealing with that. So it's really cozy. If you were to pull up a screenshot of it, I don't have it right in front of me, but it's got this pastel color palette. It's just feels almost like, Stardew Valley has that kind of cozy vibe to it. This is really similar, but that hides these kind of deeper themes. Another game that I found on there is called Missing Stars, and you can actually get the first chapter of that game on Steam today. But this is another one that specifically their goal is to highlight people with mental illness of various different types. And so you play as a character called Eric, who gets transferred to this boarding school for people who have mental health issues. And so there's a bunch of teenagers and young adults that you meet throughout the course of the game that are struggling with things ranging from like bipolar disorder to schizophrenia, psychosis, drug addiction, PTSD. And this one in particular really struck me as a person who's been in patient hospitals for mental health reasons a couple of times in my life. And so it was one of those games that really kind of brought me back to that feeling, that state of mind of being inpatient for mental health. And so it just, I guess what I would say is to kind of wrap all of this up into one picture is that these Ren'Py games, to me, are way deeper than I expected. And looking at people or watching people on itch.io and these other platforms where they're releasing these games, sometimes they only put them out on their own personal Discord server that you need to be invited to. And you can see that these aren't necessarily games as much as they are just art. People like, so much art comes from people working through things, right? Some of the best music ever made, some of the most beautiful paintings in the world were made by people that were struggling with something. And so I'm looking at this and thinking to myself, like, games as art. We've talked about that in the past here on the podcast, right?
Sure.
Versus games as like entertainment media. And where's that line? Can you count games as art? Should video games be considered like for those national endowments for the arts, for instance? Should video games be eligible to receive those grants? And so that's one question I kind of want to open up to the rest of you guys and anyone listening at home too. Where, like, your opinion on this game is art. And then the other part of it is, if a game has super explicit content, particularly like graphic sexual content, does that automatically make it a quote unquote porn game? Or if it exists there in service of the story and not just for gratuity or horniness or whatever, does that still qualify as a porn game, or does that qualify as something else? And so
I think it qualifies as something else because, I mean, think of the really hot scenes that are in The Witcher 3, and The Witcher 3 is not a porn game, but like there's very sexually charged images that are part of the story. So at least to me, I think that, like, unless it's, super sexual and graphic for sexual and graphic sake, then that's probably more of a porn game. Like, definitely the Tales of Nadia, Treasures of Nadia, whatever Nadia's got going on, she's got it going on. But, but a lot of times there's been other games where they've really, I think, tastefully done that, where it's being part of the story and part of life, because it is.
Yeah, I want to touch on the other thing a little more, like where the line is between art and, like, obviously, like, films are considered art, but they're trying to, most of the time, they're trying to do the same thing as video games, right? Make a ton of money. For me, it seems like the more people that get involved, the less the art seems to get washed away. And a lot of concessions are made by the artist to get something produced. And so there'll be a lot of notes by the people that, like, produce the goddamn thing. And so the art gets lost, which is why, things like Schedule 1, where the art is all right there, like, because it's one guy doing all this, or maybe now a team of guys with the same name. And then as far as emotion and feelings and stuff, Rick Rubin, who's worked with so many artists, it's his theory that artists feel emotions stronger, like they're more likely to be hurt or feel sad, or they're all over the emotional range, and so that's why they're able to rechannel that and put that into their work. And I always thought that was, I'm pretty sure that I'm aligned with that on artists. I feel like they're a moody bunch, and that we get to enjoy their emotions, basically.
I guess a quick follow-up question to that, Emilio, is like, is there a line there, for instance, some of the games that I played this past week focused on things like dealing with the after effects of being raped, or very heavy stuff, and it was graphically depicted because these are visual novels, right? So there's art of maybe an assault that someone may have actually experienced in person, and this is their way of letting that out. Releasing. Is there like is there a line for you where you're like, okay, this is too much, like, or this shouldn't be released to the public?
You can go as hard as you want, man. As far as there's a disclaimer, like you're getting into some gnarly shit. I think, and some trigger warnings, I guess. Mm-hmm. You can go as hard as you want, as long as you're not getting into fucking the worst of. I'm like, do whatever you want, unless, right? So unless you're doing creepy things to get creepy people off. Right.
And there was a couple of those that I found too. Those are the ones I reported. Where
and by the way, now that I know that you know the phone number for the cybersecurity, and here we're talking about illegal gambling and fucking Amanda's cooking up meth. Maybe we need to scrub this whole episode.
Allegedly.
Boy.
Right. Well, I think that pretty well covers it. I do.
You let Bobby, the most well-spoken, most well-thought-out person, think. Or speak.
No, I don't. I think we covered that, and that's a heavy topic there. I don't.
Yeah, cut them up next time, dude. That was two super heavy topics.
Yeah,
kind of piled on top of each other. I can only handle one, man. You know.
All right. So how are we going to get out of this one?
Okay. Well,
we say titties. Titties usually gets us out. It starts. It's baseline, right? Everybody loves titties, and then we talk about whatever.
Well, we're going to switch to On the Radar here. So these are games that we haven't played, but we want to play. And I'll lighten it up with one game that I saw called GeoGuessr Steam Edition. We all know what GeoGuessr is, famous web game where it plops you down somewhere in Google Maps, and just from looking around at the landscapes, the signs, and the landmarks, you have to figure out or take a guess as to where you might be in the world. This is a very popular game for kids. This is one that in the work that I do, I get asked to block this a lot at my organization, and then other people say, no, this is educational. It should be unblocked.
It is educational.
Yeah, well, a lot of things can be educational, but when you have younger children who don't really have a good restraint or self-control, they can turn something that is like fun and educational into something that's just a distraction. So the way we handle it is we block it, and then the teachers can unblock it if they want with the software. So I don't know. That's our solution. Not everyone's happy with it, but yeah, I mean, I've played GeoGuessr a little bit. I'm sure we all have. It's a fun little game, and apparently now it's going to be on Steam. So what is the Steam version adding that you don't get in the web browser version? You know, I'm not sure because I haven't played that much of the web browser version, but I can tell you that the Steam version is going to be free. And with that free version, you get unranked team duels where you can team up with a Steam friend and play against other duos. You also get access to the amateur division of the solo duels. But if you want to play in other divisions, the higher ranked ones, you've got to get the paid Steam Pass. That also opens you up to crossplay between the web browser subscribers and the Steam subscribers. They haven't said how much the web pass or the Steam Pass is going to be. So the game is free. It hasn't come out yet. It's going to come out in April 2025, which is going to be any day now. Not too many days left in April. So it's coming out any day now. It is marked as free, but apparently there's going to be in-game purchases, and we don't know how much that's going to be.
Interesting, man. I think we've all seen the clips of there's some bad motherfucker, man.
That one guy.
Yeah. He's got your eyes, actually, that fucking crazy, intense blue eyes. And he's just like, what? Just one picture of something. And he's like, nope, I know exactly. I got
This is a small village in Tanzania. I remember it because I saw the back of that billboard in a different GeoGuessr.
I guess if you play enough, you get really good at it. This is probably a good time to remind everybody that there was somebody who posted in our Discord, I believe, about something he had created where you do the same thing, but with video games. So you go to a website, it shows you a screenshot, and I believe you can click. There's a new one every day. You can click if you need another hint. It shows you another screenshot. And
GameGuessr or whatever. Yeah, we were all doing this for a while.
We had a number of these going for a while. There was the game guessing one and also the country guessing one, global. I think it was called.
I'm not good at GeoGuessr, but I was surprised at how well I did with GameGuessr.
Yeah, me too.
Like even games that I hadn't played before, I was able to get somehow just because I'd seen the Steam page or someone had talked to me about it.
And it has a hint function that kind of helps, even if the visuals don't sometimes. It's a really good little website.
Be a fun stream game. Maybe.
Yeah, I like the versus part of this because if you're just doing it on your own, it might be kind of fun, but for sure, if you're playing against somebody of equal skill, then that could be way more fun.
Right. It's got to be someone close to your skill level, though. If I'm playing against that one dude who streams 8 hours a day, I don't know that I'll have any fun.
Well, that's why they have the divisions. But yeah, the duels, the versus mode does raise the stakes a little bit, makes it a little more interesting.
We could incorporate gambling into it by betting on the outcomes of the matches.
Yeah.
We need to make a Okay, Emilio, this is our project now. We're going to make a mod that allows us to be bookies.
Okay.
And facilitate gambling.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
What if we stash bags of Amanda's meth in some of the photos?
Ooh.
Yeah. I can make that. I can make that happen.
I can make that happen.
Grab some jars. I can make that happen. Megan Durkle sound good? Yeah.
GeoGuess our way into finding our competitors' labs.
Ooh.
Right? To send the cops to raid them.
Right. Oh, jeez.
And I got the phone number now.
Blocked. Yeah, and given that somebody hasn't blocked, their police station with a van, then the cops can get out and go get them.
Funny you can do that. All right, who's next? Taylor, what do you got this week?
This week, I've got a game that is taking the at least RPG gaming world by storm. It's called Clair Obscur Expedition 33. Now, this game is just came out this past week. It was released onto Game Pass day one. Unfortunately for the developers, the day after the Oblivion remake Shadow Drop, so I'm sure they weren't happy about that. But it doesn't seem to have really affected them because this game has already sold over 1 million copies. It's been 3 days. And just to put that into perspective, it is on Game Pass day one. So that 1 million copies sold number is not even counting the people who have played on Game Pass.
Wow.
Currently, it having just come out, it's the highest rated game released this year on Metacritic and OpenCritic, sitting at like a 91 of review aggregate.
That's incredible. So
for anyone who hasn't actually heard of this game, because as the title implies, it might be it's a little obscure. It's a turn-based RPG game, kind of in the style of classic JRPG games. Think like Final Fantasy before the more recent entries, and the Persona games, where you kind of go into these dungeons and you do turn-based combat, right? One of the twists for Clair Obscur is that even on your enemy's turn, you have something to do, which has always been one of my kind of gripes about a lot of turn-based RPGs, is that the enemy's turn, if you're fighting 6 monsters and they all have to do their animation, and and do their attack, you might be sitting there for a few minutes, just have nothing to do. They solve this by putting QuickTime events into the combat. So when the boss you're fighting attacks you, you can parry that attack if you press X in the right moment. And if you do a perfect parry, you might even do a counter attack, right? And then they incorporate these also into, like, when you're casting your spells, if you press the button at the right time, you can cast a more powerful version and make sure you get a critical hit, that kind of thing. It has a kind of more linear story from what I hear. I haven't had the chance to play it yet. But what really caught my eye about this is just kind of the visuals. If you take a look at the Steam page, you will see that the game itself is very kind of beautiful and surreal. And it's set in a historical time period, specifically to France, called the Belle Epoque. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but that translates to the beautiful era, which was kind of from 1870 to the start of World War I. So that's one of my favorite kind of historical time periods. That lines up with like the Gilded Age and the Meiji Restoration in Japan, kind of a time in recent world history where the world was at peace and super prosperous. And so I highly encourage everyone to check it out. This game is the first game from Sandfall Interactive. It's a very small studio from France. It started out with only 6 people in 2020. And now they have about 34 developers on the team, mainly ex-Ubisoft developers, but veterans of the industry. But for a game that got started in development 5 years ago by a team of that small to be selling 1 million copies in 3 days is pretty fantastic.
And like you said, not including the Game Pass, which is probably, who knows, equivalent maybe. That's really, really impressive, man. This whole thing is really impressive. I love this. I love this about capitalism, that like something gets too big and too shitty, like all about making money, aka Ubisoft. The artists or business people or a mix of the two split off from that because they don't like what's happening, and they go and do what they know they want to do and what they want, what they would buy as a gamer, and this is what can happen. A lot of times these don't work out. How many games have you seen by the developers of this or that, and it's just not that good? It takes a lot, man. It takes so much work. But for somebody to come out of the gate with a new team of old developers and do something that's doing extremely well, that's awesome. Awesome.
Yeah,
price point's nice
beautiful.
too. $45.
It's that was the last thing I wanted to bring up, is that the price point, it's only $45 on Steam. It's selling at a AA price. And just, I highly recommend everyone check it out. It is, like I said, a JRPG style of game. So if that's not your cup of tea, then at least take a look for the beautiful environments in this game. But Amanda, you've got something to talk about too, right?
Yeah, absolutely. On the radar, I'm just sticking with a really sinful heathen theme today for this episode, because I've got a coworker that brought this game to my attention, and it just looks too goofy and fun to not cover. It's called Sintopia, and it's where you are this kind of manager over this bureaucratic administration of hell, and all these souls and spirits come, and you build up your world through casting spells and using imps to try and keep the spirits just bad enough that they stay working for you, but not too bad or they'll turn into shitty little demons that'll work against you. So you have all these employees that are punishing the dead souls for their sins, and that generates profit for you. So this looks like a really fun kind of like management sim game that's single player, and is kind of like this god game strategy that you're doing a little bit of somewhat of like a city building aspect, but also then managing, like I said, all of these people and their integrity and their mortality with this. The graphics for this game look really cute. I mean, I like the way that the style is with this. There's kind of like they've got 7 deadly sins in there where they build up their sins across life. And so you have to keep a level and an eye on those 7 deadly sins, so that way you can still be very efficient managing hell. So I just think this game just looks really funny and really fun.
So is this where the victims of you from Schedule 1, do they become employees?
It's a full circle. That's right. Yeah. I better see Jesse down there for sure. Definitely. Yeah, it just feeds into it. It's this whole full feeding circle, you know, it's fantastic. But Sintopia has a demo out right now, and its planned release date is sometime in 2025, but you can definitely play the demo and wishlist it. It looks, like I said, very cute, very fun, coming from Team 17 is the publisher, but Pira Knights Games is who developed it, which I don't know a lot of their games other than they've got like some fishing games. Oh,
real game.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think Christian would be so torn with it. He's like, a city builder, but you're doing bad things. Canadians can't do bad things, but I love city builders. What do I do here?
It's like, oh, and I love the management style and the choices matter of where I'm going to be managing, but I don't know if I feel right about this, making people just evil enough.
Just evil enough. That's really the core point of the game, right? You want to get people to be evil, but not so evil that they cross the line. Just like when you're managing your addicts, right? You want them to be addicted, but not non-functional where they no longer have the money.
Yeah, I don't want Jessie running into my house and making me think that it's the cops because she needs her next fix, or like cranky what's his fucking face is coming at me at like 4 a.m. that he needs some Harry Queef, and I'm just like, calm down, you know?
Harry Queef.
So, Sintopia, though, it looks very fun, looks very cool, and I don't know if I would say relaxing. Maybe, I guess it depends on if you find management style games relaxing, but looks good.
I just thought of a sub game that they could put into Schedule 1 where when people show up with no money but like a thing to sell you, like, I need my fix, I have this guitar, and you have to like figure out the tertiary market on, can I make more money off of this guitar than the cash and the time that it takes you to sell it?
What they need to do is implement Whatnot into Schedule 1, right? So then when you get bartered the guitar, you can then go on Whatnot, stream yourself selling the guitar.
This is not so much a gaming podcast as a business building company. Like, we have so many ideas.
It's entrepreneurship podcast.
It's basically in disguise.
That's a great suggestion, though, a barter system in the game. That'd be very funny. It's better than, I'm on their Discord and they have a whole thing for like suggestions and stuff.
Hit them up,
like,
please.
One of them is like, add cats. We could pet them.
Add cats to pet. When you said sub game, Emilio, after having talked about the Ren'Py games, it immediately brought up a whole different idea, like version of sub games where you are the sub.
Whoa, dude. Whoa. Dude.
Yeah. Well, number of those I played.
Number of those you played. Gotcha.
It took quite a turn into Oblivion, which I hear you're interested in the remastered version, Emilio. Have you ever played Oblivion?
No, well, here we go. This is why we're here. So first of all, have you guys talked about this on previous podcasts? Because I haven't listened to the last episodes. Okay, cool. So Bethesda shadow dropped Oblivion Remastered. They took as far as I know, the graphics have been completely redone. I've seen that, and they brought them up to modern day graphics. Pretty well done there. I don't know about the voice stuff and things like that, but and the controls. But Amanda, you've played Oblivion more than once, I would guess, right? or
Kinda. It was at Oblivion and Morrowind. I like played and tried to break with my friend growing up on Xbox. I think I only played it twice though.
You're low key famous on that too.
Yeah,
I loved Oblivion as well.
Okay, so as someone who's never played it, but I mean, Skyrim was my favorite game for many years until Witcher 3 finally got its teeth in me. Does this stand up? Should I go and play this, or should I continue my my game of Avowed? Like, you know, and that with a little bit of like, I don't think most things hold up. That's where where I am. Like, I think maybe 1% of movies hold up. I don't like old things. So what do you guys think?
Oh, this is great. I'm so glad you asked this question, because it really gets into this whole I got into a bunch of Reddit arguments over this in the past couple of months. One, Avowed and Oblivion, totally different types of RPG games.
Yeah,
they
sure,
look similar,
sure.
But they're very different experiences. What I do know about the Oblivion Remastered is that it's the exact same game underneath. It's essentially they've slapped a new coat of paint on.
It's just visual.
Yeah, so they used Unreal Engine to do the new visuals, and they retextured everything and made it look beautiful. But underneath that, they actually didn't change the original engine that it's running on. So it's still running on the OG Oblivion engine, which also means that like the mods that came out for Oblivion can be ported over to this version with minor tweaks. So I would say if you're someone who doesn't really like older things and don't think they hold up, the gameplay aspects of Oblivion, there's a lot of them that are annoying, and Avowed is a much smoother experience in that regard. Like the leveling system in Oblivion, you just had to repeat actions constantly to level them up. So part of it would be like when you're exploring, you just have to jump literally constantly and cast a healing spell constantly to level up healing, like the most efficient way to play.
Right.
And so that gets really old.
Yeah, they should have. I feel like they could have been fixed with a little bit more time,
Yeah.
But maybe nostalgia plays a fact in there, What do you think?
I think this is Bethesda really capitalizing on nostalgia, to be honest with you. I also I guess so your question is, should I play Avowed or should I play Oblivion? And my question for your question
as somebody
yeah,
does not think things hold up.
Yeah. I guess my question would be to you, like, if Oblivion hadn't been a game that has already been released, would you have had a strong urge to play it, or is part of why you want to play it because it's this old game that's reskinned in the Elder Scrolls universe?
I guess basically I'm basing it off of Skyrim, right? Because that's my sample point. I love Skyrim. It's buggy, but I mean, there's things that. Oh, okay, yeah, everybody knows Skyrim's fucking amazing.
Yeah,
but yeah, that's where I'm coming from. That was my entry point. I don't generally look back or go back, but this has enough like street cred, as you were, to maybe. I almost picked it up today. That's why this is a real question, But I am enjoying Avowed.
I will say it is on Game Pass. The Oblivion Remaster is on Game Pass if you have it.
Okay.
So that I would say, compared to Skyrim, if Skyrim is your comparison point, Oblivion has, in my opinion, better side quests, more interest, like the Thieves Guild quest and the Dark Brotherhood quest and the Shivering Isles expansion. Those things in Oblivion, I think, are better written than some of the Skyrim quests, but the gameplay itself is behind. There's no dual wielding.
Would you say dog shit?
It's of its time.
Yeah.
When it came out, it was great.
This
was
is how
cutting
I
edge.
was explained. This is my entire experience with Oblivion. I was in an airport whenever this came out. Whenever, like, maybe a year after this came out, Oblivion, the original. And there was a guy playing it. And I was like, what are you... I stopped a guy on his laptop from playing his game and asked him in the airport, what is this? And he's like, bro, this is Oblivion. He's like, see those mountains over there? I can go on those mountains, turn around this way, see that forest? I could go as deep as you want in that forest. And there's just, it's there. And from there, it stuck with me forever. That, like, it's the first open world thing ever that was even introduced into my brain as a video game. And ever since then, there's been like this whole, and then also Days talking about it, and everybody talks about this game. But, like, you know, was it of its time, or is it a true masterpiece?
Yeah. Well, so for full disclosure and transparency, I think with the Elder Scrolls, I've played so much of Morrowind, Oblivion, and Skyrim, and Oblivion is easily my least favorite out of the three. Morrowind is what I'm the biggest fan of. If this had been a remaster of Morrowind, I would have had a very hard time saying no. I personally, though, think that it's kind of fucked up to be charging almost a full price of a game that came out so long ago, and they just like put it into Unreal Engine.
Yeah.
It's bonkers to me that they've made so much fucking money. I think it was like 3 million copies sold or some shit. Like, it's crazy how much money they've made off of the same fucking game that they just put into Unreal Engine 5.
They did the same thing with Skyrim. How many times did that get released?
Yeah, I just think it's wild. I don't know. To me, yeah, I don't really like it. I mean, good for them for a business model, but to me, I don't really like necessarily replaying a lot of things or going back, kind of like what you were saying to Emilio. I'm also not the biggest fan of going back. Like, I've got no interest in going back to Arena and Daggerfall because of those same reasons. But Oblivion, I didn't like Oblivion as much when it even came out. So to me, there's no interest in trying to play this remaster. But I get it. Because if this was Morrowind, like, I would be very torn and stuck.
Right.
The fact that it's on Game Pass is great. Just play that. But if it were me, I would be playing Avowed, because Avowed is fantastic. As Taylor said, it's a different game in a feeling that brings me back to how I felt when I played Skyrim. It is not Skyrim, but it makes me feel that way, and that's what we're kind of chasing, right?
Yeah.
And so I feel like Oblivion is like a money grab on Bethesda's point for a nostalgic factor for those that came into it. Because I feel like with Elder Scrolls, there were like these 3 huge waves, you know, right? Like with each game, like there are big diehard millennials for Morrowind, and then there's somewhere kind of in between of that for Oblivion, and then you get more of like the people entering with Skyrim, right? And
like,
so
which game were you a teenager when it came out?
Yeah.
Exactly. Yep. Which
That's
game were you a
with
kid and
music,
entered
too.
this?
Yeah.
Okay, and last very quick quirk on this is that the Sky Oblivion team has been working on putting Oblivion in the Skyrim engine for 6 or 7 years.
Or something? A long time.
Yeah, a long time. And then for them to shadow drop this on them, and their lead guy came that they were happy for them to, you know, it's interesting. Like, this would come down like a pile of bricks, but you know, they're probably doing it right. They're not just filtering it through another engine or putting an engine skin on of it. They're actually updating everything, audio.
I do want to push back on what Amanda said real quick. I disagree with you there.
Amanda.
You're saying this is a blatant cash grab. I don't think so. I think it's fair to charge for the work. They had to retexture literally every asset in this game.
Did they even went back by hand though? Like,
yeah.
Or do you you
can't take the original
They should have worked with the Sky
and
Oblivion team, dude. No, like I think they could have had a beautiful moment where they could have worked with that team and like
the amount
made something
of work, the amount of work that went into making all of this Unreal Engine art assets is nothing to sneeze at. This is literal thousands and thousands of artist hours. You can't just take the original textures and throw them through AI to upscale them to 4K Unreal Engine 5.
I think you might be able to.
And that's fine. I guess I should like state more that like I'm not trying to diminish the work that the artists have put in. I guess I'm questioning fucking why. Like why? Why put time and money and like artists and have them work on this when they could be working on something else at Bethesda? Because also too, the Sky Oblivion team would have been great to just keep doing it instead of, as Emilio said, kind of dealing with a pile of bricks coming down on them from Bethesda.
We'd much rather have the next Elder Scrolls game than
I
Oblivion
would.
again.
Yeah. Bobby, you haven't spoken in 45 minutes. Would you like to say something? It doesn't have to be related to anything we've said.
No, I don't have much of a dog in the fight here when it comes to Skyrim games.
All right.
Not your cup of tea.
No, I mean,
Too much story.
I played
you can chop trees down.
Skyrim, but that's about it. And you know what? They made a bunch of money, so obviously people wanted to play this game. So, you know, good for them. This was obviously meaningful and important to some of the people out there. So,
it's true.
All right.
Oh, there's a bunch of blank stuff here. I guess I'll just jump in with a blatant plug. If you want this, well, this podcast is going to keep going no matter what you do. But guess what? You want to throw some gasoline on the fire? Throw some dollars our way. Patreon. That's how most podcasts make their money. And so we're like, let's be like them. So if you go to dlgaming.net, you can find a whole bunch of stuff. T-shirts, merch, pictures of us, a lot of cool people. Once you get to our Discord, there's never been anybody who was like, came in and was like, this is weird. Everybody was like, I like this. I'm going to stick around. It's like a couple of clicks to become a part of a small but dedicated crew. It's awesome. It's the best thing that Bobby and I don't agree on much, but we do agree on the best thing that we've done is cultivate a good amount of people, or good people. So anyway, yeah, if you want to throw some dollars our way, that always helps. Now, Taylor's going to talk about what you could do with listener questions that maybe you didn't know, or something to that effect.
Right, yeah. So we've always had our segment of the show, Listener Questions, where we encourage people to contact us on Discord or through whatever methods and give us questions to answer. This week, we have no listener questions. And so in lieu of that, what I want to do is to tell everyone that it's not just questions. You can reach out to us with other things. For instance, one thing that we are excited to kind of talk more about is corrections and omissions. I like to call it CNOs. But if we got something wrong, or you like strongly disagree with our opinions, which is totally fair. We have some strong opinions about stuff. Let's say we were just talking about the Oblivion remaster, and the way that I was saying, it's like Unreal Engine, but the base engine is the same. If I'm wrong, reach out to us. Let us know. We don't want to be misinforming anyone. And so you can reach out to us on our Discord, as we've talked about in the past. Go to dealgaming.net, but also at our email. It's pixelshitshow@gmail.com. So if you can send us questions there, you can send us corrections there. Even if you just want to say hi, go ahead. We want to hear from you, the community.
And don't think we're hurting for listener questions like nobody's listening. Sometimes we have way too many, and it takes us a couple of episodes to get through them. Just so happens there's probably just not a lot going on right now, or whatever it is.
It's because we're answering all their questions before they can even have the chance to ask. That's how good we are.
Yeah.
Pro gamer move.
All right. So before we end the show, let's just give a quick shout out to John Vogel. Always appreciated. Not an executive producer, but one of our top supporters.
No, he is an executive producer.
Right, he is?
Yeah, that's what you get when you at that Patreon tier. You get that title.
I don't think he is. I think Christian was very clear about that.
I think he was one below it.
Oh, all right. Sorry.
We don't know what's going on in our little organization here.
To be clear, like if you think one way or the other, ooh, Bobby, you might be right, Emilio. Remember, Emilio's drunk, so
yeah, neither of us.
There's that.
Yeah, and neither of us are typically right. Yeah, Christian's the only person that knows what's going on around here. Okay, so what's everybody playing next week? There is a big Microsoft sale going on right now. Ori and the Blind Forest, $3.99. Probably going to pick it up. Also, Halo Master Chief Collection, $9.99. Might check that out too. That's what I'm looking at this week. How about you, Taylor?
So having gone through this like super heavy week of like this emotional roller coaster of these Ren'Py games of varying qualities, I want to play something fun and polished, and that's in my wheelhouse. So Clair Obscur Expedition 33. I downloaded it before the podcast started, and once we're done, that's what I'm doing.
Nice. Well, Amanda, are you going to keep selling
slinging
drugs?
more drugs? Yeah. Schedule one? Absolutely. Yeah. We're about to unlock the docks warehouse and really make our operation explode. I'm stoked. Yep.
How's that work out with both of you? Is one person has the save file, or is it like a persistent world that you come back to?
No, it's one person has the save file, and you join on their save file.
Cool.
Yeah.
And then for me, I have no idea, man. I'm like, I have so much shit going on. Hopefully, I did boot up, and literally just boot up. What the fuck is the game? Caves of Cud, which got PC Gamers roguelike of the year, and I've bought it a while ago, and I did not understand how to play it, so I really want to learn it and come back to you about how good it is. So we'll see. That would be my goal this week. No promises.
Caves of Cud, huh?
Yeah. Yep. All right. Speaking for Amanda, Taylor, Bobby, and myself, those are, and interrupting people, motherfucking titties, everybody. Bye-bye. Obligatory statement during the outro.